Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of No Excuses with Chris G. I'm your host, Chris George, co founder and chairman of Subta. This is the show where we help subscription boxes and direct to consumer subscription brands come on, help them with anything they want to learn about their business, have them come on and ask me questions that can help them grow. And as you know, at Subta, we're here to help business professionals find profitability through subscriptions. And today, we've got Jenelle Peterson with Wildlife Adventures. Jenelle, thank you so much for jumping on with me.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon.
So, Jenelle, you are new to the subscription box space. You launched March of 2020. And I know you said you got tons of questions for me, which I love questions because, what the hope is here is one, that we can give you some advice to grow your business, but also you might be asking a question that other people want to hear the answer to, right? So
For sure.
It's a really good way to learn different things about starting your business. And for those of you watching, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to throw them in the comments on whatever platform you're watching this on, and I will answer them as best I can. So Jenelle, before we get started, tell us a little bit about Wildlife Adventures.
So Wildlife Outdoor Adventures is a kids subscription box aimed at kids aged 6 to 12, and they get outdoor activities and outdoor gear and tools and nature crafts, and the whole idea is to get kids and families outdoors more often.
And you're in Canada. Do you ship just to Canada, or you ship across the U.S. and other countries?
Right now, we just shipped to Canada, so we're working on kind of saturating this market first before we expand, but certainly plans to move into other spaces as well.
Well, I think that's good too, because subscription boxes aren't as popular in Canada as they are in the US. And so there's probably an opportunity there. We just sort of set a standard. I don't know if you got any specific competition. There's probably some US brands that are shipping to Canada for you to consider as competition. But give us the 30 seconds background on why you started this.
Well, I co-founded it with my brother and sister-in-law, and we grew up in Canada, in Calgary, Alberta, and we had the opportunity to spend time in the mountains, in the foothills, and out on our grandparents' farm. And when we became parents ourselves, we realized that the competing with on-demand technology and content today with kids is difficult, and it's harder and harder to get kids engaged and familiar with the outdoors. And we really wanted them to have some of the experiences that we had when we were kids. So the whole idea is to bring back some of the good old fashioned fun and what it felt like to be camping in the 80s and 90s as a kid.
Yeah, that's great. So let's get right into it. What's your first question you got for me today?
So Facebook ads are giving people a hard time lately, and I'm working on our plan for next year and looking at diversifying where we're spending our marketing money, and also how much we should be spending on marketing and creating a marketing budget based on kind of what we want to do in gross revenue. So I've kind of allotted 10% of what we want to do in gross revenue for marketing budget. And now I'm kind of trying to determine how much we want to spend on digital marketing efforts, but also considering other things like, sponsoring outdoor events or direct mail or affiliates or there's lots of channels and options, and just kind of
that's
some
good
direction on
So what's smart there is you're thinking about how to diversify the top of the funnel traffic, right? And you're right, Facebook's giving a lot of people a hard time, and that's because of the privacy they've enabled, so you can't quite allocate the conversion that you're getting from Facebook. So one thing to consider, Facebook is probably still the number one resource for marketing. And so in some sense, as we start to think about how to diversify some of this top of the funnel traffic, we're going to look at a lot of things as a blended whole. So how much do we spend in marketing overall, and how many conversions do we get? Because other things Facebook did too is they don't do a 28-day attribution. So it's only 7 days. So somebody could have seen the ad and didn't convert until 2 weeks later, and you're now like not attributing it to Facebook, but Facebook really is attributing it. So I get scared to say like slow down your Facebook because I think overall you're going to see a decrease in conversion, right? But there's a lot of different ways you can start to think about it. One, there's search, Google search, right? Keyword terms.
Yeah.
Right. The other part of it is, you got to have an affiliate marketing plan. Get affiliates, find YouTubers, find influencers that are about outdoor games, right? And fit your demographic, have them start to post on it. I like to do like the micro influencer approach as opposed to paying one person like $2,000. Find like 100 people that will review the box for the cost of the box, or maybe something small, right? Because as you think about your customer acquisition costs, if you can get all your influencers to just get you one customer for the price of a box every month on average, you're winning.
Of course, yeah.
A little bit more.
And we are doing the micro influencer like unboxings, but not like a formal affiliate plan.
Sure. So you want to set one up so that we can track. Make sure that even those unboxing ones have some sort of Bitly link, so you can you can track the traffic and like see if they're actually working for you. A lot of this is very important to look at the data. Like, are we doing things, and are we tracking it correctly so that we can double down on what's working? So if we do marketing and we don't track it well, we don't really know how to attribute where it came from. The other side of it too is like, think about this. Like somebody sees an influencer talk about the box. They go to your website, they leave. You then hit them with a retargeting Facebook ad, which then gets them to convert. All of these helped. It's like, who do you attribute it to? Do you attribute it to the Facebook ad? Do you attribute it to the influencer? Right? So it's like, is it first touch attribution? It's a last touch attribution. That's why I think it's really good that you're thinking about diversifying, and I would start to diversify it. Look at things as a blended whole, and then double down on the marketing strategies that are working really well. And
so you're better off looking like on a monthly basis of what your marketing spend was and what your acquisition was that month.
And like get a blended CAC.
Yeah.
Because they all help a little bit. And we know that Facebook isn't tracking as well. I think they're going to solve for it, or somebody's going to figure out a way to solve for it. But Facebook's still a really good form. So I don't want you to slow down the Facebook because you think it's not working that well. Remember, it was working. It's just not tracking as well, And so we can try to do clicks instead of conversions. If we know that our average conversion rate is 2% and we're driving 1,000 clicks to the website from an ad set, and we could probably, with a pretty good guess, say that we got whatever that is, 20 conversions from that ad set. You know what I'm saying?
Just looking at the data a little bit differently.
Like, what's that?
Just looking at the data a little bit differently.
Look at the data a little bit differently. And then the other thing too is look at, and as you start to get a bigger budget, there's companies now that are running TV ads that can actually track the conversion like you do on Facebook. Pretty wild. So what's happening is they're using the IP address of the individual, and they're like, there's a pixel there. And so then if the ad is let's say you ran a Netflix ad and it plays at this house, and then this house goes on a purchase, it tells you. So you're able to look at the data like you look at Facebook ad data, which has never been done before. There's a couple.
And they're able to do that because they're smart TVs and they have.
No, I think it's like also they're somehow tracking with like GPS and the IP address of the individual.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So they know that it's like at this home, and this IP address is making the purchase, and the ad played at that house at this time.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I mean, technology is getting just so robust, right? Like they might even be able to track like your friend was sitting there with you. Like if you think about like what's happening now, I mean, you can legitimately, it's almost scary. And I'll tell you a funny story the other day. But like if I say right now that I'm looking for, new sunglasses, I actually think I'm going to start getting hit with ads. And I'm not even like, I just said it. Like, and I think like, it's listening, right? I mean, like, I'm convinced the other day that I was like, I'm going to a trip to Vegas in 2 weeks. And I like thought I was thinking in my head that I needed new sunglasses. I started getting hit with sunglass ads. It's like, maybe I said it out loud. Like out loud, I was
I've had that happen too.
Right. Like, and I don't know.
I didn't say that out loud.
Yeah. So the technology is getting really smart. But that I would look to diversify it. So diversify it, look at everything as a whole, but then track those individually so that you can double down on areas that work really well. Use Facebook, look at the clicks instead of conversions and see how that's working. The more clicks you're getting from an ad, it's one way to double down on those. And I think like you'll inherently start to see like overall your conversions are going to go up. And it's still tracking some. right?
So I think they're working like not too bad. We're spending about $2,000 a month. Our average customer acquisition month, like over the last year, is about $20,
It's great.
and our lifetime value for a customer is about $270.
That's gross 270.
Yeah,
What's your margin?
our margins are pretty low right now.
Okay.
They're around 30-35%.
Okay. So then you're at like $100. So you're paying 20 to make 100.
Right.
Have you ever tried to spend $4,000 and see if it doubles the number of acquisitions?
No, and that's where I'm kind of like, as I'm planning next year, I'm like, do I just double down on Facebook ads, or is that too short-sighted and I need
Are
to?
you getting a $20 acquisition right now?
So that's blended over the last year. Right now, it's like closer to 30.
It's okay. I mean, reality of it is you can spend up to 35, 40 right now. You're making 100 on the customer.
Mm-hmm.
What's the monthly charge?
The monthly charge?
How much you charge a customer per month? What's the first sign-up cost?
So we offer monthly, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. So it ranges anywhere from $47 for month to month, or a prepaid $528 for 12 months.
Are your Facebook ads doing a discount too? Like, are you offering a discount in the ad?
Most of the time for an offer, we're doing like a gift with purchase.
Great. So one thing to consider as part of your marketing dollars is the cost of all those gifts. So add that into your marketing spend.
Yeah, for sure.
It affects it. Reality of it is, like, think about it like this, Jenelle. If you are spending 35 and you know you're going to make on average $100, wouldn't you spend 30,000?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wouldn't you spend 50,000? If someone was like, "Hey, give me $100,000 in the course of 7 months," does it sound right? 8 months they're staying on for? You said average lifetime's 280, 240.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
If someone's like, "Give me $100,000 and then in 8 months I'm going to give you $300,000," like, here's $1 million, give me $3 million, right? But as you're gonna get to a point where, like, it's gonna go from 30 to 40 to 50 to 60, it's gonna start to go up, right?
Right.
You're like this, it starts to plateau, or demographics get fatigued. I would absolutely start increasing your spend like 10% a week until you start to see CACs go like heavy. And it's going up too much. And
then focus on like increasing basket size. And improving our margins. Which
I was just about to say, the next thing you need to do is increase your margin. Your margins are slowly going to increase with like scale.
For sure.
Are you shipping out more than 500 a month yet, or how many are you? What's this like? What are you at in terms of business size? Give me a range.
So we're shipping out on average right now about 750 boxes a month.
Great. So you're on the cusp of just like increasing subscriber base to get margins better. Right.
I know. I feel like that.
So spend the money, get the subscriber base over 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. You're going to get better margins. Now your CAC can go up. Like, I remember like 3 or 4 years in launching Gentleman's Box, 3 or 4 years ago. This was like 2 or 3 years in Gentleman's Box. Like, we had, like, Johnny's one of the co-founders, and he was head of operations and curation, and like we literally just like tasked him with like the next 3 weeks. His sole focus was to increase margins. And so then it was just like, dive deep. Where can we get boxes for cheaper? Can we get fulfillment cheaper? Can we get the stickers cheaper? Can we get the products cheaper? Can we buy products that we can use over the course of 3 months so that we get a better, like, set a target and just go like, dive deep into making that happen. It's going to change your whole business. What's your retention process look like right now? There's so many cancels.
Like how many, like what's our churn rate?
What do you do? So if somebody cancels, what do you do? Anything?
We have an email workflow set up, but we could improve that as well.
What about the like involuntary churn, the credit card declining?
I usually spend half a day emailing each of them.
Smart. Do you try to rerun their card?
Yep. Yeah.
And have you ever thought about calling them?
I do sometimes, but not always.
Yeah. So retention is really critical. So my recommendation is you send them an email initially, letting them know that, that their payment didn't process. We want to make sure you don't miss out on the box, right? Then you rerun their card and then you call them. And do that process probably twice. and 3 times on the email and the retry. And
Mm-hmm.
you'll probably save like 60% of the people that involuntary churned, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like your whole messaging is like, we don't want you to miss out on this one's like so
Totally.
a sneak peek, right?
Yeah, you're doing them a favor.
And then getting the people and those that stay churned, you get them into a win back flow, right? Like don't miss out on this one's box, like right, come back. Okay, good. Yeah, so I know I went a little bit, but retention is just so critical to keeping your subscriber base up, so then you can get better margins, things like that.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many moving parts, right?
Yeah, ton. What else? What's the next pressing question you have for me?
So I don't know if you'll have good insight to this, but we are based in Canada and we're solely selling to Canadian addresses right now. But do you have any experience or knowledge of other companies? Like, what's the threshold like when you want to move into the United States? And obviously we would do it strategically for certain geographic areas and things like that. But
there's 2 ways to do it, right? One, you start to build your audience and start your marketing in the US, and you work with a fulfillment center that's in the US and have all your products go there, have them fulfill and ship.
Yeah.
Right. And then you don't have to worry about the large shipping costs shipping it cross border.
Yeah.
And so that's how I would think about it. And like maybe in the beginning you have to ship it yourself and you pay a premium and your margin's 20% or 15%, but that's okay because we know if we get to 500 or we get to 1,000 subscribers in the US, now I can find a fulfillment center. When I source my products, send the amount that I need to the US one and send the other amount I need to your Canadian one. And that's what I would do.
And so we're .ca right now on our URL. I bought also the .com. Do you need to have like a US website set up?
So I would have the Canadian website. Like I just have them both linked to the same website. So you have both. And like whether they search one or the other, it goes to the .ca or the .com. And it's just one website. And then it should know by the IP address that it's a US customer, and it should change all the dollars. It should change everything to the US dollars. And then if they're in Canada, to Canadian dollars. So you can build the site that like automatically will adjust it currency based on where they're logging in from.
And then we're using ShipStation on the back end. So if they redirect to one website, is there still a way to separate the US orders and the Canadian orders?
That's easy in ShipStation. It could be a filter tag. US, put them into a separate queue. Yeah.
Yeah. No, then you have to kind of budget for that entry, right? Knowing that knowing that you're gonna spend some time, work, effort, money getting to that 500 point where you can have a fulfillment center down there.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like if the shipping charges are like whatever 20 to 30 or 40% more because you're shipping it from Canada to the US, just bite the bullet. Take the less margin until you build it up. Remember, these are all new customers you're still building profitability on. You just are not building the margin you want yet, but you're doing it for like an end game of getting to a point where you can have a fulfillment center in the US. Where in Canada are you based?
Calgary, Alberta.
Oh, that's right.
Montana.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're like maybe 6 hours from the border.
Okay. Yeah. There's some shipping companies you can work with too. I think they can help solve this like shipping cross border for you.
I guess the question is though, like, is it jumping the gun to move into another market when you haven't fully saturated your
competition is probably heavier in the US. So I feel like I would probably like focus on building the brand in the Canadian market first. Get that to a point where the profitability is at a really good stage, and then sort of span out into like unless you get a huge US demand, like I don't know that I would be like so worried.
We do get people like calling and emailing us like
how many?
Probably get like 3 to 5 requests, and around Christmas last year we had tons of requests. Do you ship to the US? Do you ship to the US? Because people wanted to give them as
Yeah,
gifts.
then I'm doing it. I'm solving for it. I can tell you, this happened to us. So we were in the US, and Ryan Kessler is a hockey player that played for Vancouver. He's from Michigan. Well, he got a hold of one of our boxes and tweeted it. It was like this is awesome. And he had all these Canadian followers. So like literally in the middle of the night, like until like 5 a.m., we worked and like opened up the site to Canada and just started shipping. We didn't care.
Wow.
So I would do it then.
Yeah.
I would do it then and just decrease your margin or add a little shipping cost to the US.
Mm-hmm.
We did that. So we had free shipping for US customers, and it was $8 for international.
And at least you're not saying no to a sale, right?
Let them buy the ones they can buy until you can solve for it.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, that's good.
Yeah. So we got time for one more question.
Okay. Sorry, I have long-winded questions.
No, whatever's helpful for you. I'm happy.
I guess the other challenge right now is we're at the point where I still can't really afford to hire another full-time person. So and I've got lots of ideas around like developing new products or developing video and photo content or things like that. But it's like, when do you, how do you prioritize those things that you can't necessarily quantify a return? That's why people double down on Facebook ads, because it's easy to see the return from a dollar perspective. But the other things are important too, like building content and adding value and like the kind of balancing that brand building effort with the initial customer acquisition.
You're not seeing initial ROI. I understand what you're saying. So how many people are on the team now?
2.
And it's you and one other person?
Correct, yeah.
Are you guys the founders? It's just you two? Is that what it is?
I own 75% of the company. The other 2 co-founders are, and then I have someone helping me mostly with like operations and fulfillment.
I got it. So there's really 2 of you working full time on this.
Correct.
Yeah. And so I see your kind of question you had in here, like, should you hire customer service? Or like for one, it's like, what do you like doing, you personally? Like, imagine if, like, what do you like doing as part of the brand? What's your favorite part?
I'm passionate about the marketing and the branding and that sort of stuff.
And what are you doing that you don't like doing?
Like all the logistics, the back end of making sure like our workflows are working, making sure that fulfilling orders, like all the technical stuff.
And this other employee you have working for you, what do they do?
Mostly just packing and fulfilling.
Yeah. But that's it. No customer service. Don't do anything else. They just put the boxes together.
Yeah.
But that's not all month, right?
No, it's not full time.
Okay.
Like,
so you're wearing every other hat right now as it stands.
100%.
And you're using, is this your like only source of income currently?
Yes. It's just that awkward growth phase, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Do you borrow some more money and kind of go for it?
If all you were doing was the marketing and box curation, do you believe you'd get more, and you created content, you believe you'd get more customers?
Yeah, I think so. Like more customers. And I mean, as you're adding value from, like, we can do lesson plans and we can do outdoor educational videos and
better. So as you're able to do that, that's one, going to bring up more subscribers. 2, it's going to bring more awareness, and 3, it's going to keep the LTV to go up. LTV is going to keep going up because you're providing more value. So you weigh that against like doing these things that are going to pay future dividends.
Yeah, so like, exactly.
So I would, if it's me, I'd try to get to this point where like have this target on this financial doc that's like, if I can get to 1,000 subscribers, I can bring somebody on.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have them do this while I focus on this.
Just some of those more qualitative milestones.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it typical to have some growing pains like while you're between that 500,000 mark? Like you need more resources,
Yeah, for
but you
sure.
can't really afford them yet.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. This is how it always goes, right? And that's why, like, a lot of times these start as like a part-time thing because, like, you got another job that's paying you, and like, then you can use that money, some of the revenue, to hire people. But this is your sole source of income, so we gotta like, right? We need you to live, and then
Yeah, we wanted to go big or go home, you know?
Yeah. Just set a target and go to it. Like, figure out, if I met 1,000 people, will I be able to hire somebody in, and what would I have them do? That's what I would do. Somebody wrote a big comment here. Let's see. What does this person say? Oh, someone put a pretty long-winded question here, but I'll look at that afterwards. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I know that wasn't like, there isn't an easy answer, right? Like I could tell you like a million things, like cut some of your personal expenses and like and then like take less salary so you can afford this. Like the solution is like, you have one of two solutions: grow and drive more revenue, or like change your lifestyle a little bit so that you can afford to pay somebody to come on. These are like, well, that's entrepreneur life, right? Like when I started several of my businesses, so many of them I didn't take a salary initially, but like I was fortunate, I had some income coming in another way. But like I recall when we launched Gentleman's Box, there was like 3 staff members taking a salary before I was taking one.
Of course,
right?
Yeah.
You know, and so like I was able to do that, but like I was okay with that. I was like doing things that pay future dividends, right? When we eventually got acquired. So I think for you, it's like, can you get some cheap help initially? Can you get some family to help with some fulfillment? Like
yeah,
750 boxes is not like, you know what I mean? Like there's like, is there a better, I don't know what you're paying that person, but should we go to a fulfillment center now and have that person do some other customer service stuff? Should you know, it sounds like you've got that sort of, right? Like, I'm glad you hired somebody to do the fulfillment because that can be very time consuming, and then you can like do other things. But the things that got to come off your plate, you said, are some of these, you know, you're still small. Like, I think you can sort of manage this, put a target, get to 1,000, see if you're at 1,000, you have enough revenue to hire another person to do all those little things, and you focus on the branding marketing. That'd be my suggestion.
When did you know that like your numbers made sense to expand or grow, or in I don't know if you took like more investment?
Yeah, just based on the profitability. We had a cash analysis. Like we knew how much profitability was coming in. We had a cash flow analysis. So like we could sort of predict how much money would be in the bank at the end of every month. And that allowed us to budget salaries and, you know, hire another employee when we get to X amount of subscribers. You know, you just had to kind of sort of build out a financial doc. And I know that's not like, wasn't easy for me either. Like I had like a bookkeeper friend, like put one together, and then we like started figuring it out. But, you know,
did you end up ever taking on like more investment, whatever way that was, or
no? So we started out with like an initial investment from 3 of us, and then we never pulled in more.
No,
yeah, we didn't have to. We just, like, my mentality was like, I'm just going to drive this business up until I like do whatever it takes, drive enough subscribers to drive enough revenue. And you got to think about something. If you put a hard focus on increasing your margins, it's going to have a huge effect on your business.
Totally.
So like, I would just double down on that right now and get it to like, don't lose quality in the box, but get it to this stage of like, get the margin to 40%, and then get your subscriber base to 1,000 and try to get to 45%. And then when you're at 3,000 subscribers, you're at 50%. And now you're driving real profitability.
Yeah. You're better off focusing on that than taking on like more debts or anything like that.
1,000%
to grow.
1,000%. Yeah.
Great. Cool. Good advice.
Yeah, Jenelle, thanks so much for being on. Looking forward to seeing you in Dallas. I know you said you got a couple tickets, so that'll be great.
Yeah.
If you're watching, if you want to be on the show, you can apply at subta.com/ChrisG. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Jenelle, best of luck with your business. And if you need anything at all, please let me know.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Have a good day.